Hi everyone, my name is Bill Stewart and welcome to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are just joining me on this channel, I want to let you know that my whole channel is targeted towards young people, probably from the ages of 16 to 30. And my whole goal is to help those young people become successes in life. This is lesson 2, and I'm going to label all my lessons in succession, so I strongly encourage you to watch right from lesson 1 all the way through as I keep adding new videos, because it truly is like building blocks on how to be a success. So this is lesson 2, and before we talk about lesson 2, how to be a success, I've got a bit of a problem. I'm finishing up a game of snooker here, and I'm playing at the beautiful pool room at the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas, as you can tell. Well, actually, I'm playing in my garage. I don't park vehicles in the garage. I've changed it into a game room. So anyways, I still have the pool problem. So let me show you my dilemma. I have to sink the pink, and then I have to sink the black to win. Now my problem is my cue ball and the pink ball are dead on for the corner pocket. And how am I going to get that cue ball after I sink the pink ball all the way back to this back area here so I can sink the black ball, which happens to be snugly fitted right on the rail, the back rail. So if I really hit it hard, there's a good chance that my cue ball will follow all the way through, follow the pink right into that corner pocket. And that's a scratch, and then I lose. There's no angle, so I can't somehow angle it and bounce it off the rails back there. So how do I do it? Well, in pool, there's a thing called English. And what it basically means is I'm going to be putting spin on my cue ball. And in this instance, I'm going to be putting bottom rights on the cue ball, which means I'm going to strike the cue ball on the bottom part of the ball, but not only right in the middle of the bottom part of the ball, but also on the right bottom part of the ball. And what that's going to do is, after it hits the pink ball into the pocket, hopefully, it'll drag that ball back. But not only will it drag it back like that, it's also going to have some side spin on it as well, because I've hit it on the bottom right. Now the hope is that it'll sink the cue ball, drag back, and then if it hits this rail, that bottom right spin will kick it towards the black ball, which will make the black ball an easy shot to go into the corner. So let's see if I can do it. First step is chalk your cue really well. Chalk is free. Let's see if we can do it. Thank you very much. We're out of the pool room and we're back at the discussion table. Before we get into lesson 2, let's quickly review lesson 1. In lesson 1, we learned that there are 4 key steps to becoming a success. The first step is focus. You have to focus in on something that you want to be successful at. Now, typically, everyone automatically defaults to wanting to become a financial success. But in lesson 1, we learned that being a financial success doesn't mean that you're an overall success. It just means that you're successful in that one area. The overall message in lesson 1 is to focus on what makes you happy. You may not want to focus on becoming a multimillionaire, and that's okay. You can still be a true, total overall success in life. The second key step to becoming a success is practice. Once you have focused in on something you want to be successful at, now you have to put in the work that is required to achieve that goal. This is where most people falter. They start out all gung-ho, practicing hard at becoming rich. Then, when they realize that that goal is not coming as easy or as quickly as they thought it would, they stop practicing. Then the goal of becoming rich quickly fades away. Now, many people will not want to pay their dues, and so they'll try and shortcut the practice thing, and they'll try these get-rich-quick schemes. Well, here's a clue, people. There's a reason they call it get-rich-quick scheme. It's because these schemes seldom work. That's why they call it a scheme.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. What's up,
The other common way that people will try and shortcut the process to becoming rich is by buying lottery tickets. The odds are astronomically low of you winning, but each week people will lay out hard-earned money to buy these lottery tickets in the hopes that they can become rich without doing step number 2, which is practice. To become successful, you must practice at what you've chosen to be successful at. To understand how much you need to practice, you need to understand the principle of 10,000 hours. The principle of 10,000 hours basically says that if you want to achieve the highest level of mastery in any field, you have to put in 10,000 hours of practice in that field. Now let me use my pool playing skills as an example. When I was 9 years old, my dad left my mom for another woman. My mom had to get a job to support us. She only had a grade 8 education, so she was only able to get hired for minimum wage jobs. We had to move from our middle class home to a crappy little 1-bedroom apartment right in downtown Barrie, Ontario. We were so poor, we couldn't afford a TV or even a phone. Now, we lived in that apartment for about 5 years. When I was 12 years old, my brother Brian, who is about 4.5 years older than me, introduced me to the game of pool. Around the corner from that little apartment was Goheen's Billiards. It was in that pool hall that Brian taught me how to play pool. Now, Brian had already been playing pool for about 4 years, and he was a great pool player and pool hustler. He taught me snooker, black ball, blue ball, 8-ball, 9-ball, billiards, and other games, and I absolutely loved it. Over the next 5 years, I spent literally thousands of hours in pool halls, and guess what? All those hours of practice made me a very, very good pool player. I actually won a city championship tournament, and with the training from my brother and other great pool players, I also became a pretty decent pool hustler too. Now here's the thing about hustling pool. Back in the early 1970s, I was maybe like 16, 17 years old, I was actually making money from my pool skills. I was averaging about $40 per day, which was pretty decent money back then for a 16 or 17-year-old. But it certainly wasn't enough money to pay a mortgage or support a family. So I spent thousands and thousands of hours playing pool, getting so good at it that I could make that amount of money, but it wasn't enough to, like I say, buy a house or support a family. Looking back, if I had spent that many hours, those thousands of hours, and focused on becoming a financial success, I would be rich very early in life. That's how simple it is. But back then, when you're 16 or 17 years old, you're not thinking about supporting a family or buying a house. You're looking at having fun. And that was okay for me. That was my fun. So there was nothing wrong, in my opinion, with doing that. Now, if you were to try and put that in today's perspective, that would be equivalent to the young person who spends thousands and thousands of hours on a video game like WoW or Fortnite or whatever. It is entertainment for them, but if they could focus that many hours and practice that many hours in the arena of becoming a financial success, they would be very wealthy very early in life. So here's another thing about the principle of the 10,000 hours. If you plug in 10,000 hours and you do it correctly, in most cases, it'll take you not only to the top of your field, but in many cases, to a world-class level. But to get to those highest of levels, you have to do it correctly. First of all, the 10,000 hours, if you really want to go to the top level, must be done over a shorter period of time. So as an example, if I played pool for 30 years and put those 10,000 hours in, I will not be as good or possibly a world-class level than if I put those 10,000 hours in 2 years, where I basically lived and breathed pool my whole life, right? The other ingredient is that you have to practice the correct way. So if you're just trying to teach yourself, or you get some pointers from a friend or a co-player or a co-person who's also trying to be wealthy or whatever, it's not going to happen as fast as if you get professional help. So as an example, if you wanted to be a success at, say, dancing, the best thing you could do is go take dance classes. Or you could maybe read a book or watch some YouTube videos, but really you're going to get the most bang for your buck if you take dance classes, and even better bang for your buck if you take private dance classes. So here's some good news about the principle of 10,000 hours. You get to choose how good you want to get at something. This brings me to my 80% theory. My 80% theory states that 80% of people are doing the bare minimum to get by. If you want to be a better dancer than 80% of the population, you may only have to correctly practice for a couple hundred hours. Now, if you're wanting to beat out the 80% of the people in the career choice you've chosen, you may only have to correctly practice 2,000 to 3,000 hours, or maybe even less, depending on your career. If you focus in on something you want to be good at and then correctly practice, you'll find that it's actually quite easy to outwork the majority of people. And it's actually not that hard to break into the top 20%. Now, the top 20% are typically people who are passionate about being the absolute best and most successful in their field. They are the ones who put in 5,000 to 10,000 hours seeking out the best teachers and coaches to guide them to be the absolute best. Now, with this theory in mind, it makes you think about who you hire for any particular job, doesn't it? As an example, if I need an operation on my eyes, you can bet I'm going to research the surgeon's qualifications, because I definitely want someone in the top 20%. As the old saying goes, you get what you pay for. It's definitely worth spending the extra money to hire someone in the top 20%. Smart people typically don't mind paying the extra money to get that high quality. Now, say you want to become financially successful, because most people do want that. Realize that what is deemed to be a success is in the eye of the beholder. You decide what a financial success is. It's totally subjective. Are you happy with the financial success that comes with being in the 80%? Yeah, that might take 2,000 to 3,000 hours of practice, and that's fine. Or do you want to be in the top 20%? Well, if that's the case, then you need to commit to perhaps 5,000 hours or more. If you want to be the best of the best, you should plan on correctly practicing 10,000 hours or more. As Warren Buffett says, the more you learn, the more you earn. Now, here's the thing. There's no wrong answer here. It's whatever level you desire. You could have a very fun and successful life, succeeding in many different things with perhaps only a few hundred or a few thousand hours. But if you want to be world class or in the very, very top levels of anything, you'll be looking at that 10,000 hours or more. Now, many people want to be the best of the best, but let me tell you, there's a very real danger when someone commits so much time to becoming the best of the best. We will be discussing this very real danger in my next video. Well, that's all for now on how to become a success, lesson 2. To pass lesson 2, you should understand the principle of 10,000 hours and also understand the 80% theory. Thanks for watching. If you don't mind, could you please do me a favor and subscribe and like my videos? Also, push that notification button too. Thanks again. Mr. Bill, you shouldn't be hanging out in pool halls when you're young. There's better places to spend your time. Oh no, I think I'll be fine. Okay, but be careful, okay? Oh, I'll be okay.